Okay, so let's get into one more thing that may sound familiar to you. So if I create the set folder, and here is our first file, index.php, which is going to start off with class some random class. And if I make this empty and outside the class say new up the some random class, and if I call the name property and actually make some value for it and var dump the class here, and if I get into the set PHP index, I surely get the URI. So we know this before actually starting this session. You can simply externally call or create or add any property to the class. So this is obvious. But how about this? Let me create another file, name it index2 class help me with name. Yeah, because I'm out of names. And actually, let's put aside the jokes. And here I have protected data. This comes handy because we need some kind of data in our user class. And we have, for instance, the email, first email at gmail.com. And yeah, we want to have some kind of method to set the email outside the class. So if I say public function set email, and let's have the email as a parameter, and say this data email is equal to email. So if I outside the class initiate some kind of user object like this and say set email, for instance, I set changed email at gmail.com, and I var dump the user again, what do you think I get? PHP index 2. Okay, I get the changed email because I've changed it with this method. Okay, first off, this was it and I changed it, but this is cumbersome, you know it, because maybe we have tons of keys in the data collection. So maybe like this, we have so many other things. So that would be creating so many methods for setting things. So another way, which is better than the first one, would be creating the set method generally and give it the key and the value. So how this thing is going to work? It's pretty simple. I think you may have come across it. I can simply get the key from the set, go search the key, for instance the email, and put the value instead of this value, and that way we get the new data collection. So for instance, if I comment this out, I can say user and now call the set method instead of set email. So what key? Email. What do we want to change it to? This value. So you see, I get the change to value. So this is a little bit more elegant. But This is not what we started this session. So let's get into the set method actually. So it's index3. Let's have that user class once again. Inside it, we have the protected data, of course. Let me do this and don't waste your time. All right. So simply enough, we can call the set method and do the same exact thing as we did before. So this data with key is going to be equal to the value. If I say user, new user, and set the user email now, not calling the set method like I did here, I had to call the set method and just internally changing the email property. If I say changed, and finally bottom the user, say PHP index 3, as you can see, I get the changed property. So let's test another thing. Johnny can simply say user name has been changed. This is interesting. We never call the set method. We just create one method, and with endless properties, with endless key values in the data collection, we can change all of them. And this goes to data. You can simply go and test this as well. What if we have something like this? Or what can we do to change this? This is easy, but let me actually don't answer this, and maybe you can test this out just for the fun of it. So the set method that we use in here, it's not applicable into all applications. It's just for this data property. So if you want to make these things easier for the property name or properties in the class, you have to change this, of course, but it's going to be easier than this. So yeah, this is it. Let me put the last example and make it a little bit more complicated maybe. So I can copy this one. I don't want this. So okay, what if we do this? We pass the arguments into the constructor like this, for instance, email sample and name. And wait, I will correct this because it's not Ali. And here I say public function construct with data in it. So instead of actually creating the data inside the class, we are getting the data from the construct. And we say this data is equal to data. Simple as that. So what happens now? Let's see it ourselves. Oh, index 4. I get the same exact thing. So why is that? Let's explain. So the data property is empty, that's for sure, but the constructor is getting the data from the new object that we are creating, right? So let me first off comment this out. So this is a simple object. If I write on this, I get the sample and I get the Ali as the name and as the email. So the constructor is doing its thing. And what happens to the set magic method? Simply nothing, because we are not changing it. We are just passing it, and it's going to do this, adding up the data into the data attribute, and the set method is doing nothing actually. But if I were to change the attributes outside the class, then the set method is going to be activated and is going to change the values of the email and the name. So if I do this, I get the changed as the email, which was sample previously, and I get the has been changed for the name. So this is another way. So whether you use it in the construct or you use it as a data property, as a data attribute in your class, you can simply use the set magic method to change anything you want. And this is not the only way. I can simply, and you know it, can simply concat anything to it, right? So the set method, it's not just this simple act. You can put any logic inside the set method. Maybe check if it's the actual email or not, or maybe add the last name into the first name or anything like this. So this is the set magic method.